Let's start with details of developments from the United States after the swearing-in of Donald Trump as the 47th president of the country. President Donald Trump signed an executive order Monday directing the Justice Department to ensure states have sufficient lethal injection drugs for executions. The order also mandates pursuing the death penalty in federal cases, particularly for killings of law enforcement officers or crimes by undocumented immigrants. Trump aims to reinstate federal executions, which were halted under President Joe Biden. His administration previously carried out 13 executions, the most under any president in modern history. The order challenges Supreme Court rulings limiting capital punishment and seeks stricter measures against drug dealers and human traffickers, echoing Trump's campaign promises. Only 3 federal inmates remain on death row, including Boston Marathon bomber Zikav Zerniev and Charleston church shooter Dylan Roof. This report we're about to play that was put together by our team lead business desk, Nasir Agbalaya. He looks at the potential economic implications of the second Donald Trump presidency on African nations. As the former U.S. president known for his American First policies, Trump's return to the White House, could this have far-reaching effects on trade, investment, and diplomatic relations across the continent? Let's find out with this report. We will bring you this report in our subsequent bulletins. In the meantime, we're joined by international correspondent Afia Hagen for more on this. Afia, what can you tell us about the executive orders that have been signed so far? Pulling out of the WHO, I didn't see that coming.
The United States will be pulling out of the World Health Organization. They're actually one of the founding members. He said that China, with a population of 1.4 billion, has 300% population of the United States, yet contributes nearly 90% less to the WHO. And Trump saying that the WHO demands unfair payments from the United States. The death penalty was another one that you mentioned there as well. So the sweeping order of the death penalty basically makes sure that all states have enough drugs to be able to carry out the death penalty where necessary. He also said in the order that politicians and judges who oppose capital punishment had defied and subverted the laws of our country. And there's many other executive orders that were signed yesterday over the January 6th protesters, the January 6th rioters or hostages, as Trump called them. 1,500 of them are going to be pardoned and released. Now, initially we thought that those were going to be people who were convicted of non-violent crimes, and Trump had indicated on the campaign trail that that was so. But apparently it's all the January 6th rioters that have been released, and some of them were convicted of violent crimes and had quite long sentences. They've all been commuted. Illegal immigration, which is a big one. He's declared an emergency on the US-Mexico border. And also cancelled the right to for people who are born in the United States to get citizenship on free speech. Trump has restored freedom of speech for preventing censorship of speech, or so he says. And now Trump has signed another executive order on TikTok to keep it operating for another 75 days. He said he has a warm spot for TikTok now and is keen to have US ownership. Let's also remember that in 2020, one of his first executive orders was actually to ban TikTok. So that's quite a 360 on that. On gender and equality, we heard him say yesterday that there will only be 2 genders, and he said he wants to end wasteful government programs that promote diversity, equality, and inclusion, and defend women from gender ideology extremism. He's withdrawing from the Paris Climate Change Agreement as well, and designating drug cartels as terrorist organizations. Quite a raft of measures there.
And what has been the reaction to these executive orders?
Well, Dr. Tedros Ghebreyesus, who is the head of the WHO, said on X that he regrets the announcement that the United States have made to withdraw from the organization, and he hopes that the United States will reconsider their position. Now, the Chinese Foreign Ministry said it's concerned that the US is pulling out of the Paris climate change agreement for a second time, and saying that his own country was proactively responding to global warming.
And what else can we expect from Trump and his new administration over the next few days?
Well, this is his first full day of his second term of his presidency. And you might remember from the campaign trail, Trump was insistent that he could end the war in the Ukraine in his first 24 hours in office. So we're yet to see that materialize. Volodymyr Zelensky just gave a speech at Davos where he encouraged, obviously, the end of the war and, basically encouraged strength within Europe. And he's kind of speaking to that strongman sort of feeling that President Trump has. So we'll see how that unfolds over the next few days. We could have a dump of secret documents at a rally on Sunday, Trump's victory rally. He said he wants to unseal documents to do with the killing of JFK in 1963 and the killing of Martin Luther King as well, and a crypto pile. So we could see Trump start stockpiling Bitcoin for the good of the American people, or so he says. And of course, back to immigration, we could have major immigration raids across cities across America this week. The government saying, or the US government saying, that they initially will be looking for illegal immigrants who are criminals, but saying other people could not be safe as well. So that's what we can expect over the next few days.
I mean, Afia, there's one thing that's certain, and this and just this whole full day of, executive orders and reversal of, of executive orders by past administration. Is this self-serving, or is this for the purpose or for the advancement of America? Your take.
And that's a good question. A lot of it seems to be the revenge politics that I knew was coming when Trump would begin this second presidency. A lot of it is about undoing what Joe Biden did, as well as fulfilling promises that he made on the campaign trail, particularly with things like immigration, the Paris climate change agreement. Those are things that he said along the way that he would take action on. So I think we're seeing a combination of Trump, what he feels is going to bring about this golden age of America that he spoke about yesterday. And a lot of it is things that he probably wished he could have done in a second term after 2020, or that last term that was Joe Biden's, that he feels should have been his. All the ideas that he had are playing out. And a lot of it is about undoing what Joe Biden does. And of course, maintaining this attitude of the strong man, of ruling with strength and ruling with power. And that's what we're seeing, this absolute power that Donald Trump has as the president, signing this raft of executive orders as opposed to proposing bills that can go through Congress and go through the Senate. But let's remember, he pretty much has Congress and the Senate sewn up because they both have a Republican majority anyway. So this is a lot about Donald Trump wielding that power and doing whatever he wants and whatever he can or feels he should do to bring about this golden age of America.
I mean, Afia, there's so much to unpack from last night and all the way to today, not to forget the sign from Elon Musk's on that stage that have now gone viral. People are asking, and now they're now switching it upside down. Afia, I got to tell you, it's going to be a long 4 years, myself and you doing this.
It is.
I'll be speaking to you, Afia Egende, our international correspondent all the way from the UK, giving us a bit of insight on the executive orders signed by the newly minted President Donald Trump. We'll go to a short break. When we come back, we switch gears to stories from Nigeria. Stay here. And you're welcome back. And now to Nigeria, where its finance minister, Wale Edun, has flagged inflation as the biggest hurdle to stabilize Nigeria's economy. Speaking before the Senate Finance Committee, chaired by Senator Sani Musa Edu, said inflation undermines reforms and growth efforts, making it a critical focus for 2025 and beyond. The minister outlined measures to boost domestic food production and improve accessibility as part of the government's strategy. He noted that rising inflation complicates the central bank's ability to ease monetary policy quickly. During the session, Edu highlighted President Bola Tinubu's bold reforms as pivotal to economic recovery. Following discussions, the committee approved a 38.3 billion naira budget for the ministry, covering personnel, overhead and capital expenses.
It is still a difficult road to travel, although we are very much going in the right direction. The economy is turning the corner. We can look forward to brighter prospects. Inflation remains stubbornly high, and Central Bank is doing its utmost to ensure that it tames inflation so that living costs can come down. And in particular, the government is focused on making food production, increasing food production, so that food inflation, which is a major component, is ameliorated. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he saved the economy, he saved the society. How did he save the economy? In his time, every penny spent has been earned or has been procured in the financial markets on willing buyer, willing seller terms. Because they believed in his macroeconomic plan, the multilateral institutions, the repositories of the cheapest money internationally, 40 years to pay back, 10 years moratorium, 1% interest. We approached them, they looked at our plan, and they believed in it, and they provided funding.
The Bureau of Public Procurement has expressed concerns over the allocation of a little over 1.5 billion naira for capital projects in its proposed 2025 budget. The Director General of the Bureau, during a budget defense session with lawmakers in the House of Representatives, says that the estimate falls short of its proposed 72 billion naira submitted during its budget planning process. The chairman of the Committee of Public Procurement, while responding to the concerns raised by the Bureau, blamed the situation on the current budget ceiling imposed by the federal government, but promised to look into the situation with members of the committee.
Capital in the sum of 63,596,742,500 naira only. The envelope that we received for capital, we received the sum of 1,570,174,051, leaving us a difference of 62.2 billion.
I have perused the needs assessment conducted by the BPP preparatory to the presentation of the extant budget, and I can see that the actual needs of the Bureau comes to about 72.7 billion.
The Nigerian Communications Commission has approved requests from network operators for tariff adjustments in response to rising operational costs, marking the first change in rates since 2013. The decision, announced in a statement signed by the Director of Public Affairs, Reuben Muoka, on Monday, allows for a maximum adjustment of 50% to current tariffs, significantly less than the over 100% proposed by some operators. The NCC said it is exercising its authority under Section 108 of the Nigerian Communications Act 2003 and emphasized that the new tariffs would remain within the limits outlined in its 2013 cost study. Nigerians are gearing up to challenge the federal government in court over its approval of a 50% increase in telecommunication tariffs including calls and data. The Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC, granted mobile network operators the green light for the hike, sparking outrage from subscribers and business groups. Adeola Ogunbajo, the president of the National Association of Telecoms Subscribers, and Ogunbayi Ganiyu, spokesperson for mobile money agents, criticized the decision, warning of its ripple effects. Point-of-sale operators have also hinted at raising service charges. With the hike, call rates could jump to 16.5 naira per minute, SMS to 6 naira, and 1 gigabyte of data to 431 naira 25 kobo, significantly burdening consumers. The National Emergency Management Agency has distributed food, non-food items, and medical supplies to support the treatment of injured victims and provide relief to the affected families of the tragic petrol tanker fire disaster at Diku Junction in Niger State. The agency disclosed this in a statement on Tuesday. The tanker explosion occurred on Saturday morning along Diko Maje Road opposite Bandiji station. According to reports, the disaster was triggered when a crashed tanker loaded with premium motor spirits spilled its contents during an attempt to transfer the fuel to another tanker. For nearly 2 weeks now, residents of Bukuma in Dangema local government area of Rivers State have been daily deserting their community following an explosion that resulted in a fire in OML 18 belonging to the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited. The townspeople are citing grave health concerns as the pollution spreads from the creek to neighboring Kalabari communities, disrupting fishing and farming activities in the area.
Since this oil explodes here, even you can look the palm tree, the fruit, everything damaged, burn finish. Women go fishing, nothing. Men go fishing, nothing we catch. This is my palo, this is my canoe man, nothing we catch. Ordinary hand now with the carry come now, and nothing we go feed do now to eat. Please, may I tell the federal government to come and help us because we are dying.
When the spill occurred on the 18th of December, till the operators, we were told, came with a badge and a crane and wanted to do some further operations to contain it. That day, the 12th, there was an explosion. From that 12th of January up until this moment, you're still seeing the fire burning in full blast and escalated into the bushes. Cut farmlands, vegetations, residential homes, wildlife, the entire ecology and the ecosystem was charged with flame.
An inspection was carried out by NNPC, and it was discovered that there was a leakage from 1st of December, and it wasn't taken care of. We were told just before the fire explosion, don't turn on your gas, you can't cook, you can't strike a match, because the entire atmosphere is charged, and any spark could just raise fire. So our source of livelihood through farming and fishing is all gone. 90% of the people in the community have evacuated themselves to safety.
As a result of this fire outbreak, many of us suffered the same different types of sicknesses that affect our life spread, and that some of us cannot breathe, some of us cannot eat because of the situation.
King Stephen Tobins is the paramount ruler of Bukuma.
I want the federal government, the state government, to contact the people, the NNPC who owns the oil, to take care of the people in Zion City and Bukuma and other satellite town in Bukuma, the 14 communities in Bukuma Island, in Agum, because there is no hospital here. The government has never provided any medical facilities in Bukuma. So the people will die soon. So immediate action should be taken.
The heat was so much that as if your skin wants to peel off. So the adverse medical effect is very obvious. The NNPC, do they not have conscience? See, we are talking about the life of human beings. Life comes first, then their livelihood, then the sustainability of the environment. It's sad that this thing is happening, and sometimes I just feel that some people feel that others ought not to be alive.
The state government has disowned an online portal circulating on social media pretending to be the state's government empowerment scheme. The secretary to the state government, Abubakar Usman, in a statement warned the people to desist from interacting with the portal. Usman claims the portal was created by suspected fraudsters seeking to exploit Governor Mohammed Bago's efforts to promote agriculture and youth empowerment in the state. Usman clarified that the government has not launched any such registration portal and warned residents to report any suspicious links or information about the fraudulent scheme to relevant security agencies. The alleged online portal invites the state's youths and farmers to register on it as part of the state government's empowerment scheme. And on to security, as the General Officer commanding 3 Armored Division, Major General Abdusalam Abubakar, has classified security challenges in Plateau State as unique and different from other theaters of operation. General Abubakar, who was speaking during a media chat to mark the completion of his tenure as both GOC and Commander Operation Safe Haven, maintains that measures need to be improved upon to ensure criminal activities in the state are abetted. So our correspondent, Chizoba Anyowe, was there for News Central and has this report.
Violence in Plateau State, spanning over 20 years, has ranged from cattle rustling and poisoning to underage grazing, farm destruction, and isolated attacks on communities. Against all odds, gradual resettlement of victims back to their ancestral homes, increased farming with bumper harvest as against records in the past 5 years, minimized attacks on villages are among success records that need to be sustained with novel ideas.
In line with this, we evolved effective broad-spectrum strategies involving both kinetic as well as non-kinetic lines of operation in order to be able to address the multidimensional security challenges, backed, of course, by technological innovations, which is being heavily supported by the Plateau State government, and this has really helped in improving our early warning mechanisms.
As sad as it may sound, the alarming rate of fake news, proliferation of arms and ammunition, including illegal manufacturing factories of these arms, remain major challenges. The GOC says sustained joint intelligence-based operations have yielded good results.
I'm glad to report that in 2024 alone, we recovered a total of 476 small and light weapons, about 13,530 rounds of different calibers of ammunition, and we also dismantled 23 illegal weapon manufacturing factories. Also, about 137 gun runners were arrested. I dare say that this record is the highest in all the 6 geopolitical zones of the Federation.
Despite this feat, the outgoing GOC, who doubles as commander of Operation Safe Haven, reaffirms that the Nigerian Army is not relenting in its desire for greater heights.
On the tactical side, the major challenge is the terrain, which is mountainous in some areas like you all know on the plateau, with ravines in other areas. And this restricts the movement of both troops as well as our equipment. And we have made efforts in this regard to overcome this challenge. A look at the statistics, for instance, for the year 2024, revealed that incidents of violence on the plateau reduced by an impressive 65% as compared to previous years. So we have done quite well.
The scope of 3 divisions command saw General Abdusalam Abubakar's footprints span Plateau, Bauchi, Gombe, Adamawa, and Taraba states. It also impacted 2 local government areas in Bauchi State and 5 others in southern Kaduna. In Jos, Plateau State, for News Central, I am Chizoba Anyowe.
Nigeria's Corporate Affairs Commission says that it is commencing a 24-hour artificial intelligence-driven registration process to boost the ease of doing business in the country. The Registrar General of the Commission made this known in Abuja during a compliance and enforcement training for staff of the Commission in the nation's capital, Abuja. Our correspondent Joshua Marai reports.
Is an in-house training bordering on compliance and enforcement for state officers of the Corporate Affairs Commission holding in Abuja. The training aims to equip staff with essential skills for compliance enforcement, focusing on critical issues such as shell companies, nominee ownership structures, and the identification of persons with significant control.
The drive for rigorous compliance and enforcement functions, you will have noticed, commenced with the POS formalization project, under which POS operators were required to register a minimum of business name in line with the requirement of Section 863, subsection 1 of the Company and Allied Matters Act. The Commission has to date registered some reasonable number of POS operators under the POS formalization project. This is a far cry from the 250,000 expected from the sector alone.
The director of the Nigerian Police Cybercrime Unit, who was represented, called on participating staff to leverage knowledge acquired to improve service delivery, foster interagency collaboration, and restore public confidence in institutions.
This training is not just an opportunity to acquire knowledge, but it should act as a launch pad for improved service delivery, interagency collaboration, and shared responsibility to restore confidence in public institutions and engender a favorable review of the country's rating on ease of doing business.
The CAC Registrar General highlighted the Commission's plan to implement a 24-hour AI-driven registration system, allowing businesses to register seamlessly from anywhere in the world.
Now, anywhere you are, you can register with the Corporate Affairs Commission. As it is now, the time frame now for delivery for registration is 24 hours. And some may linger up to 3 days because of the influx and the surge of applications coming to the CAC. But now by next week, by deploying entirely intelligent company registration portal, meaning that registration with CAC now is, the process has nothing to do with human being interference. Everything is AI-driven.
The training is expected to improve the business registration process, enable interagency collaboration, and modernize Nigeria's business registration process. In Abuja for News Central, I am Joshua Marai.
About 300 widows of deceased police officers of the Nigerian Police Force, drawn from the northwest states of Kano, Katsina, and Jigawa, have received empowerment support from the Police Officers' Wives Association. The packages were presented by the wife of the Inspector General of Police, who also serves as the chairperson of the Police Officers' Wives Association. News Central's Emmanuel Bagudu reports.
An official engagement by the chairperson of POA, Elizabeth Egbektokun, in Kano State. Welcomed by the police commissioner of the state, the POA chairperson says that members of the organization are committed to supporting efforts to improve Nigeria's security situation by providing all the support needed by their husbands.
I call upon the power of collaboration. Let us reinforce the bridges between our families and the force, creating a tapestry of support that not only uplift our officers but also fortify their resolve.
The way the husband behaves, my colleagues here will witness it, and I do say it anywhere. This is the IG for the first time I'm hearing that he would never tax you, bring society, or you go and give it. This man introduced a lot of welfare for serving police officers.
Items donated to the widows include sewing machines, grinding machines, deep freezers. A hospital for the Mopol 52 in Chalawa, Kano was also commissioned. POA assured the widows present that it will do all that it can to ensure that the widows of slain personnel are catered for and supported. In Kano for News Central, I am Emmanuel Bagudu.
In a major move to power its rural areas, Kogi State has launched a new plan to bring electricity to underserved communities. The announcement was made at a roundtable event in Abuja attended by key officials from the Rural Electrification Agency and other partners. Governor Ahmed Usman Ododo highlighted the need to address the state's energy shortage, pointing out that Kogi currently gets just 50 megawatts of electricity from the national grid, serving about 5 million people. Kogi's Commissioner for Rural and Energy Development, Engineer Abdul Muttalib Mohammed, shared his excitement for the project, explaining that it will boost local economies and improve life for rural residents. The managing director of the REA, that's the Rural Electrification Agency, Abba Aliyu, praised Governor Ahmed Usman Ododo for focusing on energy access. The governor of Edo State, Monday Okpolo, has commended President Bola Tinubu's administration for its commitment to ensuring food security across Nigeria. The governor made this disclosure at the launch of the state food outreach scheme of the Renewed Hope initiatives of Nigeria's First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu, in Benin City, Edo State. On her part, the First Lady, represented by the Vice President's wife, Hajia Nana Shatima, observed that the program is a social investment initiative aimed at providing welfare packages for the underprivileged and vulnerable Nigerians. Earlier, Edisili Anani, the coordinator office of the First Lady of Edo State, expressed gratitude to the First Lady for the Renewed Hope initiative.
Beginning to see a new dawn. Look at food all over. We are very, very delighted. There's anything beyond 100% we give our dear president.
I am pleased to share with you all the since inception in 2023. The Renewed Hope initiative has made significant progress in our effort to support our people, particularly women and youth, towards building a better life for their families.
Barely 4 weeks ago, the life of the elderly in our state benefited from her benevolence. Today, the vulnerable are benefiting from her motherly gesture as a mother to all in the launch of the food scheme program to the vulnerable. It is indeed a testament that no one is left behind and everyone has access to food.
And welcome back. As Kenya bolsters its police presence in Haiti with more officers, their ground patrols and aerial surveillance continues in an effort to restore order to the violence-ridden Caribbean island. They work in dealing with criminal gangs controlling some 85% of the island is also being aided by locals who Superintendent of Police Edwin Koli says gives them information concerning the movement of each and every gang. Gang violence killed at least 5,601 people in Haiti last year, about 1,000 more than that in 2023. Kenya's President William Ruto said last September that some 2,500 police officers would eventually be deployed.
Receive a message very early in the morning that there is a group of gangs who has invaded Thomasin area, and we made efforts and joined hands with the PNH police, and we came with a team whereby we surely engage the gangs. There was many, and even if you see this hill up here, they had invaded up to this hill and beyond, but we managed to repulse them. Currently, the area is safe and it is very peaceful, and the members of the public have now come back and they are going on with their life. Members of the public in this country, they are very good. They interact with us each and every day, and they give us information concerning the movements of each and every gang around. And when we get the information, we act promptly to make sure that we push them away.
The number of dead after a fire that engulfed a hotel at a ski resort in northwestern Turkey on Tuesday has risen to 66. Witnesses said desperate guests had tried to escape using ropes. Footages showed bed sheets hanging from the windows, and media reports suggest some had died after trying to jump to safety. Several ministers have arrived at the scene at the Kautakeya resort, around 170 kilometers northwest of the capital, Ankara. And officials said the fire had now been contained. Some 238 guests were registered as staying at the hotel. The minister has added a peak time during a 2-week holiday, school holiday that is. The fire is believed to have started in a restaurant and spread quickly through, though it was not immediately clear what caused it. And on to the Russia-Ukraine conflict, as French President Emmanuel Macron has dismissed assumptions that the conflict in Ukraine will soon end upon the assumption of the office of President Trump. It's been a popular notion that President Trump's assumption of office will mean an end to the Ukraine war. President Trump has also promised a rapid end to the war once sworn into office. However, President Macron has dismissed the assumptions, insisting that Trump's presidency does not mean an end to the conflict. In his words, the war will not end tomorrow or the day after.
Ici avec force. Ne nous leurrons pas. Ce conflit ne se terminera pas demain ni après-demain. Et ce conflit ne sera pas la fin du sujet de sécurité que la Russie pose aux Européens plus largement. Et du Caucase à nos amis baltes.
The world's political and business leaders have converged in the Swiss resort town of Davos to discuss global challenges. The WEF, that's the World Economic Forum, says this year's event, the 55th annual forum, which runs from Monday to Thursday, will convene close to 3,000 leaders from over 130 countries, with a gathering demonstrating the critical need for dialogue in an increasingly uncertain era. It notes that 350 government leaders, including 60 heads of state and governments, will gather in Davos clusters to address the pressing challenges and shape emerging opportunities.
There are two words we need to pay attention to in the IMF forecast with respect to the way it saw the economies of the world. One is divergent, and the other is uncertain. Certain supply chains and certain manufacturing. It's not normal that 90% of something like chips that the world needs is manufactured in one place, or 70% of minerals are processed in one country, or 80% of vaccines are exported from 10 countries. So how do we decentralize supply chains? How do we diversify? And business is actually doing this already, so that we can build resilience. At the WTO, we are promoting an instrument that will help countries strengthen their economies and attract investment to help this reglobalization, which can create jobs in place. I heard President von der Leyen saying the EU is actually moving in that direction of trying to promote local manufacturing, not just coming into countries, coming into Africa and extracting and taking away, but actually putting the supply chains on the ground. I think that will create jobs, make people stay in place instead of trying to migrate elsewhere, and create wealth. On the trade side, at any rate, it really increases productivity, lowers trade costs in such a way that we can have double-digit growth in trade, from now till 2040, about 14%. If we are able to adopt this in an even manner across the world. Of course, we have to deal with issues of the digital divide in developing countries, which we have to overcome. So let me just end by saying, look, openness and predictability of trade, maintaining the rules that have worked for us for so long is key. If we decide to fragment into two trading blocks, we've just done some simulations.
And that's all we can take out this hour. But before we go, let's take another look at some of the major stories. Newly sworn U.S. President Donald Trump has continued his flurry of executive orders as he directs the expansion of death penalty measures. And Nigerians have opposed the 50% increase in telecommunication tariffs, plan legal action. And we also told you that Haiti peacekeeping mission has been fruitful in Haiti from Kenya. And that's all we can take at this hour. Remember, they can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422 on Star Times channel 274. We're also on Avo TV as well as YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Judah for TV. Bye for now.